Today, Dragon Age Veilguard should have been a live service. If it was opposite day, this is CheckPoint. Welcome to CheckPoint, where gaming news is somehow now the more normal news.
I have faith that gaming can reclaim its title as the pinnacle of nonsense.
Maybe a few more mergers?
As a treat.
Well, here's a start. A gaming news story that has to do with the Palisades fire in California. Treyarch's co-founder, Peter Aikman, made the fires better by flying a drone into a water bomber. On Jan 9th, Aikman was operating his drone out of line of sight in restricted airspace, presumably to record other people's houses burning down, when it struck a Bombardier CL-415 Super Scooper twin-engine water bomber on loan from Canada. Though the plane was able to land safely, the drone tore a hole in its wing, taking it out of service for 5 days while Los Angeles was burning to the ground. An FAA investigation recovered fragments of the drone and traced it back to its operator. While no one here disputes that fire is pretty cool, the U.S. Attorney's Office for the Central District of California was unmoved, and Aikman has since pled guilty to unsafe operation of an unmanned aircraft. He will be required to compensate the government of Quebec for damages and complete 150 hours of community service, in addition to sentencing. Aikman co-founded Treyarch in the 90s, but moved on in 2008 and is now president of Skydance Interactive. Notably, he was the programmer and director of 1998 fantasy classic Die by the Sword, which allowed gamers to independently control their character's sword arm. It was an ambitious concept that wound up playing like a failed fusion dance of Dark Souls and QWOP, which is still a better collision than drone and plane.
If you're absolutely bricked up for Assassin's Creed content these days, don't worry. New details have come to light on the upcoming game Assassin's Creed Shadows. The art book entitled Art of Assassin's Creed Shadows was recently uploaded to a website. Which website? Don't worry about it. The art book opens the kimono on unreleased details such as character designs for historical figures like Toyotomi Hideyoshi, Ashikaga Yoshiaki, and Lady Oichi, the younger sister of Oda Nobunaga. Other details include concept art of Kyoto and Osaka, which are completely uncensored for anyone who wants to see them, just by going to a website that's completely normal and okay for a person to visit. Ubisoft is not happy about this leak and is doing everything they can to have the pages removed from this website that certainly shouldn't concern anyone about its other contents. In fact, at time of airing, the links have already been removed from this website where I absolutely do not already have an account or platinum status or a much-loved review blog.
BioWare is really going through it, as evidenced by, well, lots of things. Come with me. Foremost in the conversation last week was Electronic Arts CEO Andrew Wilson's claims that Dragon Age Veilguard would have been more successful if it had been a live service game. An absolutely baffling conclusion to reach, and also not exactly what he said. This hypothetical is being pulled from the following quote from Wilson during a recent EA investor call. In order to break out beyond the core audience, games need to directly connect to the evolving demands of players who increasingly seek shared world features and deeper engagement alongside high-quality narratives in this beloved category. Dragon Age had a high-quality launch and was well reviewed by critics and those who played. However, it did not resonate with a broad enough audience in this highly competitive market. Now, you absolutely can read between the lines that he thinks Dragon Age would have been more successful if they had kept whatever live service features EA apparently forced into the game mid-development before mercifully removing them later. But then you could read a lot into this because it's meaningless corporate babble to placate stakeholders during an investor call. The evolving demands of players who increasingly seek shared world features and deeper engagement. Just say the game was only okay and didn't sell great. And also, it sold fine. According to EA themselves, continuing to cough up corpo speak, the game engaged with 1.5 million players, which was 50% fewer than they were expecting. Maybe if it hadn't been a decade since the last Dragon Age game, you could have kept that fan base engaged. But EA has BioWare heads down focusing on the new Mass Effect title, and they're doing that by laying them off. Well, not exactly laying them off, but temporarily transferring them, loaning them, if you will, to equivalent roles elsewhere in the Electronic Arts umbrella, and then eliminating their positions at BioWare so they're stuck in their new roles at a different subsidiary. If they want to work at BioWare again, they'll apparently have to keep an eye out for job openings there and reapply. Oh, and they laid people off, particularly 2 writers who have been there for 20 years. Hey, why did people like Mass Effect again? It was the tight gameplay, right?
Arrowhead Game Studios dropped a patch for Helldivers 2 this week and announced with their characteristic pomp that updates and bug fixes were coming aplenty to the game, while mentioning nothing of the exciting new item and corresponding ability to interact with the environment the patch also includes. Yes, that's right, fans of democracy, Shovel is here. The shovel item can be found in certain maps and not equipped as a loadout item, possibly indicating that not all maps will allow shovel. Reception from players so far is pretty similar to bringing your toddler to the playground and learning they've installed a new sand pit with a built-in ride-on excavator toy. Kids go off. But seriously, why do we dig? Why is digging so fundamentally alluring? And what terrible secrets might we learn if only we carve deeply enough into the ground beneath us? Well, whatever the reason, the Helldivers 2 community is awash with glee and contentment. Soon after learning they could dig holes and slice trenches, Redditor Zazogo16 posted a screenshot of legible words dug into the ground behind their character. And sadly, anyone who enjoyed Mythic Quest will know that by the time they're watching this, some intrepid Helldivers will have drawn something from the latest Assassin's Creed somewhere on the automaton front. But don't be scared, this is still a happy time. In fact, we'll need Paul to weigh in on CheckPoint about a potential alliance between Helldivers players and Deep Rock Galactic players, because the comment section of that Reddit post evolved into chants of rock and stone. So wholesome. And look at that, I talked for like a whole minute and didn't say AI.
I guess everyone's just going hard with the mask off capitalism now, so yeah. At the Overwatch 2 event this week, Blizzard excitedly announced the return of loot boxes. Yeah, as if it's a feature. Check it.
Season 15 is the return of loot boxes. You heard that right. Loot boxes are making a comeback.
They took loot boxes away 2 years ago because Overwatch 2 operates on the Battle Pass system, a system provably more effective at extracting money from gamers and less likely to run afoul of international gambling laws. Listen to this part.
We're keeping it fun while being transparent about what's inside and the rate of various drops from opening each box.
Oh, this time you're going to be transparent. What a great choice you made to follow the international laws around gambling so you can finally get back into China, which is happening. That's why they're releasing some Chinese-themed skins. Not that they say that that's why, but that's why. And so, with the loot boxes back, does that mean the Battle Pass is going away? No. In fact, you unlock them on the Battle Pass, 1 on the free track, 2 on the paid track, plus weekly rewards, which sounds like the worst of both worlds. No longer do you rack up several loot boxes in an evening, and instead of knowing what you'll get at level 6 on the Battle Pass, you get a chance of random items. You could get that legendary skin you've always had your eyes on, but you will get a graffiti spray of a hero you loathe.
Well, hey, loot boxes are back. That's got to be a step towards the reclamation of stupidity by gaming.
It's certainly a start. I think the kill shot would be actually implementing that stand up and shout McDonald's patent.
I give him 6 months. Coming up, after more than 75,000 attempts over 5 years, speedrunner Summoning Salt has knocked out Mike Tyson in less than 2 minutes. This is in-game, of course, in Mike Tyson's Punch-Out. Summoning Salt hasn't yet tried his skill against the IRL Mike Tyson, but I'm sure the principles are basically the same, right?
Something Paul noticed, and you can speak to this more on
It's his fault. It's his fault.
On CheckPoint, but when Paul was looking up graphics for the Helldivers story, is that the Deep Rock Galactic folks have been trying to like collaborate with Arrowhead to do something with Helldivers for a while.
Right. Like back in like March of 2024, so I think when we first learned about it.
Yeah. They haven't announced anything. No. I hope that this secretly is.
Yeah.
And then eventually because with the shovel, they didn't say the shovel was a thing. It wasn't in the patch notes, right?
Right.
So I hope that this is more of Arrowhead messing around, and that they just put the shovel in there, and eventually players will dig too greedily and too deep,
Yes.
and unleash some sort of, I don't know, like what do they call them in 40K now? Squats? Is that what they are?
I don't know.
Anyway,
Shit about 40,000 of anything.
race of evil space dwarves, right? What maybe they introduce that to Helldivers. It's like you dig down and suddenly they burst out of the ground. Wouldn't that be fun?
How do you dig in space?
Carefully?
I guess.
The Leagues of Votan are the space dwarves.
Right, they used to be called the squats. That's
Yeah.
what it was.
Ah, okay. That was the racist term for them, I guess.
Right.
Right.
Probably.
Jesus.
Actually, shout out to Nelson for writing the Helldiver story, and
good.
Cameron for writing the drone story.
And for Graham for writing 2 stories this week, and for me taking it very easy.
Well, because we wrote some stuff for last week, and then we at the last minute had to prorogue the episode, so we just added some more and still use the same stories because they were still good. But I remember seeing the story about some utter dumbass flew a drone into one of Quebec's Bombardier planes. And then a week or 2 or 3 or however long it was later, it was like, oh, that guy co-founded Treyarch. And it's like, God, you idiot.
Good job.
Yeah.
I guess you get bored when you finish doing so. Is he still, I don't even know if he's still there.
Still current. No.
Oh, he moved on, right?
Skydance Interactive, which is a very funny name.
It goes very well with having a drone. In the,
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, maybe that's the whole deal. He's like, drone gaming will be the next thing. Watch.
Yeah.
I was trying to advertise my drone gaming company. I don't know what Skydance does. They might not do. For all I know, they might do those things that you pull the string and they fly up in the air and they go into fireplaces.
Have you been keeping up on Nintendo and its battle against Pocket Pair?
No, I have not.
Let me read you this headline.
Okay.
Nintendo applying for anti-Pal World patents in the US with a whopping 22 out of 23 rejected. But, quote, they are fighting.
Interesting.
I don't know I haven't really looked into this, but I just thought that was a very entertaining headline.
The patent office is also very boring. They're going to be in that position of we're not interested in doing anything that's driven ideologically. It was what you hope, right? It's just like, I'm just a guy behind a desk and I have to read these things and no, that's not defensible, or no, that's not whatever, or you can't do, like the patent office feels like that kind of space where it's like, I'm just going to take my time and read this thing. And no, you know what? Not rejected, like I feel like they don't talk to the outside world that much. So I have to feel like, if nothing else, they're going to be reasonably apolitical in their stances. They don't care where a patent comes from. They just care about, would this even stand up to anything? Yes, no, sure. Maybe this is a case of this is the real deal. Like, it's like you can't stand up for these kind of implementation things, which, at least in the United States.
Speaking of potentially non-news, we're less than, at time of recording, we're less than 24 hours removed from the latest Sony State of Play.
All right.
And you'll note that we didn't cover it because it was more games. Great. Good job.
More games.
That's
great.
it. They were like, hey, do you like video games? Here are trailers for some video games. And that's it. There was nothing earth-shattering. It was just, hey, there are video games. I hope you wish to play them on your PlayStation 5. And you know what? I do.
Are you tired of shooting things with a harpoon in Dave the Diver? Well, guess what? You can play as a Yakuza character in Dave the Diver and punch people in the face now.
Oh, fun. What's the company that makes the Yakuza games or the Like a Dragon games?
Ryuga Gotoku, which is literally the name of the game. It's Ryuga Gotoku Studios makes Ryuga Gotoku, Like a Dragon.
First of all, good for them.
Yeah.
Secondly, I love that they had to specify that I can't remember the character's name, but so-and-so is a pirate in Hawaii or whatever.
Oh,
that they're like, no, that's canon.
Oh, you mean like in the new game,
the
that's coming out?
forthcoming game,
Majima,
Majima. That's
he's a modern day pirate, and
and they're like, oh, is this some kind of like what if spinoff? And they're like, no, that's canon.
Yeah,
he becomes a pirate.
Yeah, and
it's like.
And he has ice weapons now. And it's like, what? That's canon? It's like, yeah, shit, why not?
Didn't this start as like gangsters in like a very small neighborhood? Just like punching each other and occasionally hitting someone with a bicycle, and then now
and drinking whiskey, and eating ramen at the local whatever, and I can't wait to get my teeth dug into it. I'm
Good for them.
Heather ordered me a copy of Yakuza Kiwami for the Switch physically, so I'm waiting for that to somehow show up at my house at some point so I can do that for the next 300 hours of my life.
Good.
I'm looking forward to it.
I'm looking forward to Avowed. I hear it looks really sweet.
I'm looking forward to seeing the names of the people at the end of this video, which will be playing in front of our faces because they help support us by being members in the YouTubes.
Oh, but what if you don't wish to use YouTube to become a member of the channel, but you still wish to support us financially somehow?
Now, I think you know the ways they can support us financially, Graham.
Yeah, I know, but that's the worst improv I've ever seen you do.
I was feeding you as an opportunity to tell the audience, actually.
I know. I thought I was setting you up.
That's good.
Patreon.com/loadingreadyrun.
And store.loadingreadyrun.com, also two great ways to do it. But also you back us on Twitch, and that's cool too.
Thank you for watching. Bye. Fuck, that was really funny.
Yeah.